Despite her success and popularity, Rihanna has managed to keep her personal life mostly private. Though many fans are familiar with her story during her meteoric rise to fame, her life before that is less well known. Perhaps this is due to the fact that information about Rihanna's childhood in Barbados is not widely available, or because Rihanna is protective of her family and secrets. Even if Rihanna makes her success appear effortless, it was anything but. She grew up in less than ideal circumstances and faced more than her fair share of adversity. But it was largely as a result of her adversity that she became the person she is today. Welcome back to our channel Fact District, and today we are going to discuss a topic, real life story of Rihanna. Number 6. Rihanna grew up with trouble at home. Rihanna recalls growing up in Barbados as just a little island girl riding bikes, running around barefoot, and flying kites in the cemetery. But her childhood home wasn't quite so liberating. Her father's drinking problems would cause tense situations. Fridays were terrifying because he'd come home drunk, she told Rolling Stone in 2011. He'd be paid and half of it would be spent on alcohol. When he walked in the door, all eyes were on him. When domestic violence was on the horizon, the future pop star could feel the temperature rise in the house, previously telling ABC News, "My parents were in an abusive relationship. My father was the one who abused me. He hit her on multiple occasions." She continued, "I don't want to say normal, but it didn't come as a surprise. She didn't go to the hospital. People do not want anyone to know about domestic violence." Despite the fact that her mother was a primary target of her father's outbursts, Rihanna recalled being punished for wanting to stay at the beach for 10 minutes longer. "He slapped me really hard," she told Rolling Stone. I dashed home with his handprint all over me. I couldn't believe my eyes. My mother could tell how traumatized I was by the look on my face." You know how you feel when you know you did something wrong and deserve to be beaten? This came completely out of nowhere. Number 5. The origins of Rihanna's hardened entrepreneurial spirit. Rihanna is a musician first and foremost, but she's also a successful businesswoman. She's had endorsement deals with Nike, Gucci, CoverGirl, and Clinique, not to mention her own scent, Rebel Fleur. According to Rolling Stone, her upbringing as the family's oldest child instilled in her a strong sense of independence, and her father assisted in shaping her into the woman she would become. "He taught me how to fish, swim, run, and ride," the singer-songwriter told a news outlet. "He toughened me up a lot." Rihanna's father made a living by selling clothes on the street or from his car when she was a child. She would occasionally join him, whether out of desire or necessity. "She used to sell stuff on the side of the street like I did," Rihanna's father, Ronald Fenty, told The Sun in 2011. "She'd come outside the store and set up a rack, selling hats, belts, and scarves. She would also buy sweets, package them, and bring them to school to sell to her friends for profit." It was Rihanna's entrepreneurial spirit that led her father to believe she would end up in business. In the end, he was correct in some ways. Number 4. The breaking up of Rihanna's family. Addiction sadly took a significant toll on the celebrity's early life when drugs snapped Rihanna's father and wreaked havoc in her family home. "My family broke up because of his addiction," she sobbed on Oprah Winfrey's Next Chapter. According to The Mirror, Ronald Fenty purchased drugs even when money and food were scarce. "Even as a toddler, I learned that when there was foil paper in the ashtray, my mother and father would argue," Rihanna said, referring to drug packaging or freebasing paraphernalia. According to Rolling Stone, Rihanna walked in on her father smoking crack when she was 9 years old. "I had a drug problem, and Robin did walk in and see me taking drugs in her house," Ronald admitting to The Sun. "She was just a little kid, and it changed the way she looked at me and other things. We were walking down the street with the kids around the same time when we noticed a man sleeping on the sidewalk. Your father is going to end up like that," her mother warned Robin. "I didn't want my children to see me sleeping on the sidewalk, so I began making the necessary changes." Rihanna's father overcame his addiction, but it cost him his marriage and harmed his relationship with his children. "I had to give up drugs for the sake of my family," he explained. "I still kind of misplaced them." Number 3, Rihanna was bullied in school. Rihanna is loved and admired all over the world, but as a child in Barbados, she didn't always feel loved. Her father was descended from a poor Irish community whose members were frequently referred to by derogatory names. Rihanna's surname, Fenty, was a common surname among this group. The future singer-songwriter also had light skin, which led to teasing at school. I was cultured in a very black way, Rihanna explained in an Allure interview in 2009. But when I got to school, I was referred to as white. They'd look at me and they cursed me out. I couldn't figure it out. She didn't take it lightly and she fought back, at times with her fists. I was teased my whole school life, she told Glamour. I have no idea what they were looking for. It was the color of my skin, then as I grew older, it became about my breasts. However, the constant bullying she endured shaped her and prepared her for a life in the spotlight, a life that can be cruel and unforgiving. Rihanna told Harper's Bazaar in 2015, "This thick skin has been developing since my first day of school. It didn't happen after I became famous. I couldn't have survived fame if I didn't already have it. So being vulnerable can be the most difficult thing in life at times." Number 2, Rihanna was a good girl gone bad. Rihanna's mental health suffered, understandably, as her father battled his own demons and domestic strife increased. Despite the fact that the problems at home were kept private, the young Rihanna began to isolate herself from the other students at school. She wouldn't talk, wouldn't even cry, Rolling Stone reported. Around this time, the future singer's grades and health began to deteriorate. She had always been a straight-A student, Rihanna's mother, Monica Braithwaite, explained. She'd get these excruciating headaches, she needed CT scans. Rihanna suffered from migraine-like headaches from the age of 8 until she was 14, but doctors had no answers for the excruciating migraine-like attacks. Initially, they suspected Rihanna had a tumor of some kind, with the singer herself saying it was that intense. However, the test results were always negative. The headaches didn't go away until her parents divorced and the fighting stopped. The emotional stress of the arguing and domestic abuse, according to Rihanna, is what caused the pain. Number 1, Rihanna has suffered a history of violence. The world was rocked in February 2009 by reports that Chris Brown had abused his then-girlfriend, Rihanna. After TMZ published photos of her battered face, the abused singer became fodder for nearly every news outlet in the United States, forcing Rihanna to withdraw from public view for months. Despite the fact that she was a victim, she began to worry about Brown in her isolation. "If I'm this down, imagine what he's going through." Rihanna later explained the situation to ABC News. "I had no choice but to protect him. I felt compelled to warn him not to do anything crazy. As in, just hang in there. The entire world now despises him. His followers, his career. He just lost me, and I just want to warn him not to do anything stupid." The two eventually reconciled, and Rihanna was chastised for it. Rihanna, for one, was disappointed because she had promised her younger self that she would never date somebody like my dad. She wasn't proud of her decision, but she'd been overcome by love. Rihanna discovered that her personal decisions had far-reaching consequences, and she told ABC News, "It's perfectly normal to return. It isn't right. I couldn't be easy with that part when I realized that my selfish decision for love could result in the death of a young girl. I couldn't be held accountable for returning." And with that being said, it's time to end our video. Are you a fan of Rihanna? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you in the next video.